I'm going to get started, and I'm hoping that you guys can see the slide screen okay. We did a test already. Yes, everyone says we're good. Sarah says we're good. Thank you, Sarah. All right, so let's get started. I'm so excited about this call tonight. And as you can see on the screen, that what we're doing the first time, I'm going to show you some pictures. So I'm really excited about this. This call, the title of this call is Swim with the Wild Dolphins of Bimini, the Bahamas, Communicate and Heal with the Dolphins, Sacred Connection and Transformational Retreat. So let me give you a little flow of the call because we are going to do live energy healing with the dolphins today. This picture is a real picture of dolphins from Bimini, the Bahamas. This was taken by Atmo, who's, I'll explain this a little better. He's with Wild Quest as we get into this, but let me just give you the flow of today's call so you can set yourself up for success and you guys can know what you're in for and when we'll get to the energy healing, which I know everybody loves. Before we got on the call today, I definitely spent a good time of my day, a good portion, little percentage of my time today in meditation, connecting with the dolphins. I got some channeled information, which is not included in this presentation, but I did write down what I got channeled from them, and I will share that with you later. But here's the flow of today's call. So we're going to talk about the dolphins, and we're going to talk about their role on planet Earth since the origin of their species, and in particular during this ascension cycle. Now understand, I'm sharing from a totally different perspective from what you'll hear in modern day science. I'm sharing it from the perspective of a light worker and a star seed and an animal communicator. So this isn't something that science would necessarily verify, but this is something that you come to someone like me for, since that's my role here as a spiritual translator, really, a translator of the non-physical world, including telepathy with animals. So we'll talk about that today. We'll learn about why Bimini, the Bahamas, is so important of a geographical landmark and how this relates to the ancient sunken city of Atlantis and the Bermuda Triangle. Again, I'm going to give it to you from a spiritualist perspective, a metaphysical ascension perspective, not a scientific perspective. I'm going to share with you the amazing and fabulous and life-changing experiences that go on during the Sacred Healing and Communication Retreat in Bimini, the Bahamas. I'm going to show you a lot of really great pictures, real images from our retreat, and introduce you to some of the people involved. And I'll tell you about the agenda of the retreat in case you want to join us, because, of course, I'm going to make an offer to you and let you know about this retreat if you want to join us. I would love for you to join us. So, and then, of course, we're going to do a healing meditation. And the healing meditation will be the dolphins providing us with the healing, and we will also, in turn, use our consciousness, our intention, and our energy to provide healing in a giving and receiving way for all the dolphins and all the waters and all the marine life. And that will be towards the very end. And, of course, we'll just go through this. Hopefully, I'm intending to do this within about an hour and 15 minutes, just so you have an idea of how long we'll be together for. All right, so with that, I want you to meet the dolphins. So who are these dolphins really, and what are they really doing here on planet Earth, and what is their role during the ascension cycle? Now, if you're not familiar with the ascension cycle, please go to my YouTube videos and watch any of my videos where it says something like ascension training, because I'm not going to go into that today. I'm going to make an assumption here that you know that we're in an ascension cycle, and if you don't, that's okay. You can go to YouTube and catch up. You won't be behind. The dolphins, who they really are, they're not just animals, right? Even if you go back to Lloyd's comment in the beginning, I can tell that Lloyd gets it. They are beings from other planets. So generally speaking, the dolphins are from the planet Sirius. So they are here helping us through this ascension cycle as extraterrestrial beings. And it's hard for us to think of that. We don't think of it that way. I know I'm going out on a limb for people who aren't tuned into this whole arena. I could sound kind of crazy if you're really plugged into the old way of thinking, which is based on, the old paradigm of Earth, that these are just animals and, oh, isn't it wonderful how intelligent they are. They're almost as intelligent as dogs or as us. But that's actually so far from the truth. They are intergalactic, interstellar beings, which means they've traveled here through galactic time and space, through dimensional realities to be on planet Earth during this period of linear time. And what they're really doing here is two primary roles, among others. Well, three. They're correcting me now because they're very present with us here. The first role is that they are storing up records of information, and not just information, but energy. These records are, for any of you who have worked with me or have practiced with these records, you know them as the Akashic records. And we're not going to talk about the Akashic records tonight. That's a whole other class. But these records are basically the records of information that are stored up for planet Earth's humanity so that they would never be forgotten, because the true history of planet Earth has been dramatically manipulated. So the dolphins and the whales, by the way, they store up the records for all of the waters of all the Earth and all marine life. And they hold this in their consciousness. And you can actually access these records by communicating with the dolphins. And again, true for the whales as well. So that's one of the roles. What else are they really doing here on planet Earth? They are, many of you know this, of course, they are elevating the frequency of energy on planet Earth. So we're going through this ascension cycle. And this ascension cycle is a dramatic shift of consciousness for all of humanity, all of Earth, and beyond the Earth. It's not just the Earth, it's this whole galaxy. All of our dimension of reality and other dimensions too are going through this. And the ascension cycle, which again, I'm not going to go too much into it, it's a process, though, I will say this, where we elevate and enlighten ourselves and our frequency of energy. So the dolphins, because they hold such a high frequency, they're able to do this through the waters to help Earth during the ascension process. And they are particularly, in their charge, is particularly to care for the waters where they reside, as well as the marine life. So that's the second role, to increase the vibration and elevate the vibration and the energy on planet Earth. And one of the ways, obviously, we can identify that they do this is through their echolocation, right? Echolocation is their way of communicating underwater. Really, they're using clicks and sounds and noises and song and high-pitched frequencies to basically project those energies, and they bounce off of different kinds of physical and non-physical objects in the water, and not necessarily just in the water, even when we communicate telepathically. And that kind of echolocation that's bouncing off of other objects and non-physical objects is returning to them. These are laws of the universe, by the way, which I also teach, that are definitely at play with echolocation. And as they return to them, there's a form of communication going on there. And there's simultaneously this energy frequency that's raising vibration. So that's the second thing they're doing here. And the third part, in terms of their role during this ascension cycle, is that they really are having a wonderful experience. That's according to them. And I realize not all dolphins are being treated humanely. I'm talking about the collective here, because part of the way I communicate, in this case most of what I'm communicating is today will be directly from dolphins I've connected with as a collective in Bimini. However, at the same time, I have communicated with dolphins as a collective, not just those in Bimini, but all over the planet. And as far as I know, this is true. As far as my translating of the information I've received, this is true, that they are also having a very nice time here on planet Earth. Okay. All right, so let's go to the next slide. And, okay, why are there so many dolphins in Bimini, And you'll see more of this when we get into the pictures specifically about Bimini. Why is this particular location so significant? And what is this sunken city of Atlantis that I referred to? And how does all of this relate to the Bermuda Triangle? Okay, so this is a lot. So, okay, first of all, Bimini is in the Bahamas, and we'll go into this a little bit more as we talk about as we get into today's presentation. The location of Bimini, the Bahamas, is very significant on planet Earth because it really is right where what's known as the sunken city of Atlantis exists. Now, this is also a much bigger conversation than we can really get into, although I talk about this a lot. I will be talking about this a lot in the upcoming retreat that I'm going to be telling you about. However, the sunken city of Atlantis is, in a nutshell, please forgive me because it's a big topic, it's a part of Earth that actually did sink. And many people know about this. For lots of you on this call, you've heard of Atlantis. Many of you are very familiar with it, but others are not. Atlantis is not just a little amusement park in Disneyland. In fact, Disney World, Walt Disney, they are part of, now I'm going off on a limb here, they're part of a collective of conscious beings, Walt Disney in particular, and who knew about Atlantis. Okay, the point that I'm making here is that Atlantis sunk when a major shift went on in terms of linear time, a previous period of linear time, when the consciousness of humanity got to a certain point where they had gotten so dark it was what we call an end of game scenario. So in other words, you could call it a major world cataclysm. And so because of this major world cataclysm, Atlantis sunk, and in the process of sinking, most of humanity was extinguished. So that area where Atlantis once was is really what ultimately forms where the Bermuda Triangle is. And the reason this area is so important is because souls of humanity, of human beings and other living beings, basically sunk into a different dimension of reality, and we are, in a sense, healing the trauma from that timeline. Now, I know I'm saying a lot of words here. You have to be kind of progressive to understand what I'm saying, but if you're confused about it, don't worry, you'll learn more. You'll learn more about this. Just stay with me. But humanity went through an age of what we call an end-of-game timeline, where we extinguished ourselves and we sunk. And there was so much trauma from mass destruction and massive death, that area needs a huge amount of healing and resolution for the trauma that has existed there. And the Dolphins of Bimini are there for this reason, to help heal the trauma in that particular area, and also to help hold on to the records of what happened, so that experience is not repeated again during this time of ascension. This time of ascension, there will be no mass cataclysms like that. There will be nothing like that, other than what humans, it's almost like some animals have translated it as stupid human tricks. They're joking, right? It's not a judgment. It's more like we make mistakes and we do things, but there will be no mass destruction of end of days, so to speak, end of game, if that makes sense. Okay, this is why there's so many dolphins in the area of Bimini, and this is why they are so really steadfast in terms of their role on planet Earth at this time, because they are really doing massive cleanup of trauma, energetic pain, and they're transmuting a lot of that energy in the area, so that even though we're re-experiencing some of the trauma, fear of devastation, fear of destruction, fear of loss of our planet, we're going through this stuff, we're actually we're expressing it, in other words, in a way so that it doesn't actually have the same end result. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, so let's meet the dolphins now. Let's start to get to know. So who are these dolphins? These are real dolphins from Bimini, by the way. Real pictures taken from Bimini. So the two primary dolphins we see when we swim with them, when we go to Bimini, the Bahamas, and we swim with them, are the Atlantic spotted dolphin. And these dolphins really are the ones that the team that I go swim with, that we go swim with in Bimini, the Bahamas, is called Wild Quest. We'll meet more of them later, and we'll hear from someone today who's part of the Wild Quest team. I hope we'll be able to. But these Atlantic spotted dolphins are very prolific, and those are the ones. If you just look back here, this is a spotted dolphin, right? You can literally see the spots on them. And they're very social. They're very sensual. They travel in large pods and sometimes smaller pods. They're incredibly curious. They are very interactive when we swim with them. When we interact with them, they swim up alongside the catamaran, which you'll see that as well. They are really curious, and they're very really willing, in my experience, swimming with them to interact with us. Okay, and they really do dance with you. Okay, you'll see some of the pictures later. Then the second kind of dolphin there is the bottlenose, and you'll see a picture of these guys too as we go on with the pictures, go through the slides. But these bottlenose dolphins, they're larger and they're basically stockier, and they're the ones that are most famous really. You'll see them in captivity very often, at places like SeaWorld, for example. And I can tell you, these dolphins are not willing to be captive anymore for the most part. That's why you're seeing and hearing that, for example, SeaWorld is no longer going to continue to have many of the sea animals in captivity anymore. They stopped their breeding practices because it's true, the dolphins have very effectively communicated that now is a different time, and they're not willing to engage in that anymore. We'll get into this more too. Okay, but those are the two primary dolphins, and you can see, if you take the time to read this, you can see more specifics. This is really information that's from the Wild Quest team. They provide this for our learning. Okay, so here's some really nice pictures from Wild Quest, from our Wild Quest experience, where you can see the pods are mixing. So here, I don't know if you can see in the upper picture to the right there, that's a bottlenose, and then underneath here in the upper picture is a spotted dolphin, right? And then same with the picture below. You can see these pods, while they are not in the same pod, they do definitely mix. It's not like they're like we are. Sometimes humans are like, "Oh, we can't mix," but no, they mix. They're not cliquey in that way. Okay, so this is just another amazing picture, and you can just see from this picture, like there's not just one or two of them. They're prolific. This is why I say, why are there so many there? Because of what we were talking about earlier. This is a nice view from the top. Isn't that amazing? You could just see them. They're just so many of them swimming. They're just so beautiful. I just wanted to share some of these slides while we're learning about them, before we get to the meditation. So here you can see two different species side by side again. Okay, this is the island of Bimini from an aerial view. So, wow, isn't that so beautiful? It's not even really that big, as you can see. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. There is a north end and a south end of Bimini. So, okay, as you know, first, Bimini is in the Bahamas, right? And the Bahamas is made up of 29 islands. Wow, 29 islands. And 661 cays or keys. I think those are also called keys. Cays are like islands, right? And here, this I got from the Wild Quest website. So this is what they teach about. And again, we'll talk more about Wild Quest as we get into this. But 2,387 rocks spread over 180,000 square miles. Wow, that's a lot. And this makes up really the world's clearest waters. And if you just, you probably already know about the Bahamas. It's really an oasis, and the boats here, It's amazing. When you swim in there, it's just some of the clearest waters on the planet. It's really true. You can see so far. When we were swimming in the waters, we could see really far distances of people who are very far away from us. And you can see all the way from the surface when you just are snorkeling at the top down to the bottom. And obviously visibility isn't always the same and it's not always clear, but really it's incredibly clear. Christopher Columbus really was the main person, as I understand, who pretty much named the Bahamas, and he was looking for the New World, and he made, you can see it here, made a landfall discovery in 1492, I guess, at San Salvador, which is the East Bahamas, and he called these islands, I guess, the Baha Mar. This part, I'm not a history person. I mostly just know this from going on WildQuest, so I'm kind of reading it with you, but I think it's really interesting just to know this stuff. And, you can see many of these islands, they make up teeny land masses, and the Bahamas are a country of their own. They're the 150th smallest country. That's interesting. All right, and the currency is the Bahamian dollar, although really they do accept American dollars there. I'm pretty sure that's true. If I remember correctly, last time we used American dollars. Okay, Bimini, about Bimini. Bimini means mother of many waters. And American Indian language is spoken here in the past. The white sand beaches are incredible, you guys. They're just the most incredible white sand beaches. And like we said, crystal clear water. And the water is just so warm. It's incredibly gorgeous. And you'll see more of these pictures as we go on. The architecture is really colorful and fun and funky. It's just, I remember when I was there the last time, I was just walking through looking at, like, the houses were so cute. It's just so charming, and that sort of cute Bimini style, Bahamian style. It's just, like, adorable. And it's surrounded by shallow reefs. Now, we do a lot of snorkeling in the reefs as well, and you'll see some snorkeling pictures here too. The waters, really 100 feet. That's not a lot, right? Increased to 100 feet. That's not really that deep. And then there's when you go further off the coast, obviously, but we don't get anywhere near that on the when we go on the Dolphin journey. 6,000 feet is when it can get really deep. And then just kind of giving you a little more information on Bimini. Some say, this is the part that's in, we kind of talked about this, some say Bimini is the home to the ancient lost city of Atlantis. According to my information, as I tap into Divine Source, that is true. As I tap into everything that I'm aware of, that I'm able to access, all the stuff about Atlantis is true. Of course, the way it's positioned here in a more mainstream way is, well, maybe it's true and maybe it's not. Okay, and Bimini, obviously, it's a horse-shaped island, and we showed you the picture there. And we talked about the beautiful, sparkling turquoise water. This is just a little bit of history. You guys can kind of read this as we go. There's some really amazing sites of interest in Bimini. There's some healing holes and some sulfur springs. There's the Atlantis Road, which we do snorkel over. That is like literally the road that it's underwater rock formations that are described as the Atlantis Road. There are many people who have gone down and studied these rocks who say that these are of no man-made material that we have now. And in fact, when we swam over this Atlantis Road, and you'll see some images of it today, when we swam over this, we all took we just, without even really knowing, we just checked in with ourselves. Like, what do we think? Do we think this is recent, or do we think this is something that was, is truly associated with the sunken city of Atlantis? Just intuitively, we were asking ourselves, and most people seem to agree. We just were checking in on an intuitive plane, how we felt about that, and that was just our experience, that we also felt that energetically to be true. There's also a shark lab there. They have a gazillion shark species which you could learn about, and there's a nature trail where you can see really all the all the natural nature that's in Bimini. Okay, now I'm going to get into stuff where I'm more of an expert on because this is our experience. So this is a commuter plane. Yes, there are like 8 seats in there, I think, was the total number of seats. It's only a 25-minute ride from Fort Lauderdale, and it was out of a private airport. Okay, now you guys, really, this is the way flying should be. It was the most enjoyable plane travel I've ever done in my whole life. Here's me and Anne. Anne and I, we were on the plane ride coming over, and this was a view from the plane. Really beautiful. Now, this is the Wild Quest Retreat Center. Isn't it so pretty? It literally, this is what we woke up to every day. Just to be, we were in these, I think right over here on this side. Oh, I don't know if you can see my pointer. You probably can't. But if you look at that big house on the left-hand side, and if you can see the stairs going up, that's where my room was. Up there where those 2 windows are, there's a yoga room and a studio room. All this, the building to the right is all bedrooms, and in the bigger house underneath there's a kitchen area, an eating area. There's a little book kind of like little library area. And then here's the other direction, sort of looking back at the water. So this is part of the Bimini property. The Wild Quest property. Just so pretty there. And this is just nice. You could see that hammock. There was a hammock. If I go back to the other image, there's a hammock over here on the right-hand side. And here's a hammock. Someone enjoying, one of the participants enjoying the beautiful time on the property. It's so lovely there. It's just so peaceful. This is the most awesome catamaran. It's really luxurious. You'll see more pictures of this, but this is what we take out to go see the dolphins and swim with them. This is not just like, just one of those boating trips. It's really so enjoyable. And this right here is just some of the images of some of the bedrooms inside. It's simple. They're air conditioned, and they're very sweetly decorated, right? I think they have a really nice, sweet energy about them, and they're very clean. Okay, so now we get to meet some of the Wild Quest staff. Now, some of these people who are in this picture are not still there. I know that I did not meet this gentleman in the white hair, but let me go across. This is Jawala. I think this is that you, Nala? I'm not sure. We'll talk with Nala later. She can verify if that was her. Max was someone who was with us, and he's not pictured. He was so cute, little Max, so cute. And now I think there's a new Max this year. Then the gentleman to the right in the orange shirt is V. John. He's still there. And Atmo is in the front row to the left, also in an orange shirt. Atmo is the person who takes all the pictures. And that's what's so awesome. You don't even have to worry about taking pictures, really, because they are all taken, for us. And they're available for purchase at the end. Of course, we take lots of pictures, too. So many pictures. And then there's Amlas. Amlas is Atmo's partner. They're partners, and they are the 2 who really run the Wild Quest team. And then here's Tara in the blue kind of tank, turquoise tank. And Tara is just a beautiful artist, and she does amazing dancing with the dolphins, you'll see. And then this is Sukahama. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. I remember her, but I always had a hard time pronouncing her name. And Patrick is missing. He's new. And there's Sandy the dog. You may see a picture of her later. I can't remember if we kept that picture in. Anyway, the Wild Quest team is incredible. They are really super knowledgeable, incredibly beautiful beings, super conscious. They are all extremely conscious. And the environment and the atmosphere with these people, they're just very supportive. They are so helpful. All of them are, in their own right, healers and intuitives. They all have different unique gifts and awarenesses about the dolphins, about Bimini. They are just very well trained. They've been doing this for 20 years. Anyway, Nala will speak with us later, I'm pretty sure, as I said, and she'll be able to share more about that. I just want to make sure I go through this so you can get a really good sense here of what's going on before we get to the dolphin journey part and the meditation. So this is the breakfast room over here. That's Amlas, and one of the participants. We're making breakfast. And the breakfast, there's a nice image of the breakfast below that. The breakfasts are really all natural. They're, a lot of it's organic. Most of it's local. I mean, some of it's brought in from the island, from other islands, or it's brought in, but it's, we get it at the local, they get it at the local stores, whatever's available there. It's lots of fresh fruit and natural food, really beautiful food. This is the lunchroom area. And of course, there's a lot of socializing that goes in, on. Everybody's very social and very friendly. And then this is the outdoor seating area. So if you see the pink door there to the right, that's where that goes into the lunchroom area that we just saw. And these are just tables all lined up where everybody sits and snacks together and chats. And sometimes there's games or healings going on there, or just whatever when people want to meet and have casual talk time together. Here's some nice, this is what we do. We pack lunch, right? So after breakfast, then there's a whole lunch spread as well. And you just pack up a lunch, and we bring that onto the catamaran during the day. And you can see it's all fresh. It's very beautiful. This is some more yummy food. Okay. So here is along the side, right? This is what a different view, a different angle of the Wild Quest area that you saw before. And this is the water, and that's the catamaran. This is us just getting ready to board for the day. And here we are, getting on, and this is like where we're first taking off. So if you can see to the all the way to the left, the woman with the arm raised and her orange shirt, that's Amlas. And then all the way to the right, you can see me there. And I think the person I'm talking to is Chris. I don't know if Chris is on the call today, but that's the catamaran. Now, when we leave in the morning, this is how we started. So our first day, we started with a meditation, and we would do this in the morning. We'd do a little prayer and a meditation, and we would invite the dolphins in. And what was really amazing here, this is another one of those images where we're all, just as we would finish the prayer, of course, then the dolphins would come. And you can see there that what's happening there is that we're basically inviting them in. That's what we're doing. It's a nice meditation, and we all connected there. And right after that, that's when the dolphins started to come. Really, it's amazing how they respond. So here is the dolphins. You can see how they start to come. And the Wild Quest team, as you can see in both of these pictures, the Wild Quest members are literally, on the lookout, making sure we can find them, we don't miss them. But it's really impossible to miss them from my perspective. I mean, you can just see they come from everywhere, right? Look at this. It's so incredible how they really are. And here they are again, right? They're just coming from in every direction. Now, what we do is we stay for a while, and we don't just jump right in the water. We don't just get in. We make sure that they're not trying to get away from us and that they're welcoming us. So for quite a while, we'll just stay very quietly on the surface. We observe them. And what's really amazing is that they respond to us. So actually, on the one level, we want to be quiet and not disturb them. But on another level, we're oohing and ahhing, and we're just so excited. And even if we're quiet, even though we were quiet here, our energy, our excitement, you can feel that in your belly center. You guys know, those of you who are energetic sensitives, healers, intuitives, animal communicators, even if you're brand new to this stuff, just getting excited, you can feel excitement in your body. Well, the animals, the dolphins, are totally tuned into this, and they feel it, and they get excited from our excitement. So as we would get excited, they would do even more. They would do jumps and spins and flips, and it's just so incredible. And this is what we'd see. We'd see this in every direction, these incredible dolphins. These are just pictures I wanted to share with you guys. And they're right up close and right next to the boat, the catamaran, right next to us. Okay, so then we get to a point where we've been with them for a while and we're ready to get in. Now, in all fairness to you guys, this is me. Really, I don't like that picture of me, but it's fun. This is not us jumping in to swim with the dolphins. Actually, when we get in to swim with the dolphins, we go very gently into the water so as not to disturb them, not to scare them, and also because, not that they would be scared of us, but just that they're so sensitive. Their hearing and their sensory perception is so ultra sensitive that we don't want to just make a whole ruckus of noise. But this is really, we were just swimming for fun. And there I was. That's me. Just a fun swim time. Okay, but so here's where we start to get in. And at first, we mostly stay at top, We're just moving and we're being respectful. And we're waiting to make sure we have more of their invitation. But it doesn't take long at all, right? You really know because they're swimming around you. They're not swimming away from you. They don't swim away from us. They're swimming around us and they're encircling us. And before we know it, wait till you see this. Look at this. It's incredible. They're just watching us, right? And we're watching them. Look how beautiful these pictures are. This is amazing. I mean, they're really excited. And I'm going to share with you, like I said, some of the channeled information I got from them. I wrote it down as it was coming through. But you don't even really have to be a good swimmer to swim with them. In fact, on our swim last year, one of our participants was actually not even a swimmer. And I'll show you, you can just swim on the surface and still interact with them. But I'll show you in the next slide. Here we go. You can actually see here, this is a line. So if you see that sort of line that's off to the right-hand side, you can see that person there, and there's being basically towed by the boat, right? The catamaran's moving very slowly. And as that catamaran's moving slowly, the dolphins are with us. And that person there is, there we go. That person there is not even swimming in the front. And there's a whole string here. The string goes back. So as many people as want can hold on to this line. It's not really a string. And they can be towed. And this doesn't interfere with the swimming or the snorkeling at all. It's also a safety precaution. Okay, now this is amazing. Priceless moment. This is just snorkeling. Now this is really, you can see the sand floor here. This is how clear it is. I'm pretty sure that's Ayla from our journey. Ayla is one of the participants. It's actually we're not that deep here. And it's just like dancing with them. I actually think this picture was from an earlier journey. I don't think this picture was mine, but this is really how close you can get. Okay, and this is, remember I talked about Tara. That's Tara there swimming with those. She's literally dancing with those two dolphins in the lower left-hand corner, and that's Ayla in the white bathing suit. I just remember the bathing suit. We're literally dancing and frolicking with them. It's amazing. And really, there was nobody who was on our journey who did not have a deep and profound, everybody was amazed at how close we got. Again, that's Ayla in the white bathing suit. And I think that might have been, I don't remember what his name was swimming down there because he was I think that's one of the Wild Quest staffers. Can't remember his name. Okay. This is some more. Now this is a bottlenose dolphin, right? So you can see we're having interactions with both kinds of dolphins in Bimini. Here's some more surface type swimming. And isn't this so amazing? Look at this. It's just incredible. And we had just such wonderful times. I mean, it wasn't like we were on the boat. This is Atmo. He's just totally flirting with this dolphin. This dolphin's flirting with him. They're just dancing together. Just incredible. You can also get a sense of the clarity and depth of the water. If you look at the top here, very top in the center of this image, you can see another dolphin there. And that dolphin is, farther off in the distance, and you can still see. You can see the rays of sun. When we were snorkeling at the top, we could see the bottom so clear. You can see, seashells and conch shells and all kinds of marine life at the bottom. More examples. I just couldn't edit these pictures too well because there's just so many incredible. Look at this. It's one of those pinch me, I'm dreaming moments. Can you believe this, how gorgeous this is? I mean, I dreamed of this stuff when I was a little girl. I want to tell you a story while I'm showing you these pictures. This is like dolphin dancing. When I was a little girl, I went to SeaWorld for the first time at 7 years old. Some people might have heard this story. And this is another dolphin dancing image. And I remember walking out of SeaWorld, and back then I was too naive to really understand, what was going on at SeaWorld, or even the whole concept of captivity. But I remember walking out of SeaWorld and saying, that's what I want to do for my life. I want to work with animals. I remember walking out, my father, I was holding his hand, and he said to me, you can't do that, Lori, because you won't make any money. And then I spent about the next 30 years proving him wrong, or trying to figure out how he could be wrong. So actually I don't agree with that at all. But I came to realize that I could do what I love, I could be of service, I could enjoy these kinds of experiences, and I could facilitate a whole new way of experiencing the dolphins that's way more aligned with service and contribution to them and to others. All right, we'll get into that more. I just want to get through these slides so I can show you, so we can get to the meditation and the healing. But look, this is the sunken city. This is it. This is what they call the Bimini Road, right, or the Road of Atlantis, right? That you can see those incredible, huge stone. It's just incredible. I mean, that's amazing. See, that is the road that basically is the Atlantis Road. Okay. Now, this is more in that area. So, okay, we talked a little bit about Atlantis already. I kind of went into that more than, I'm not going to go into it too deep, although when we're there, I talk about this a lot more. But what I do want to say is one of the things I do, and I'm definitely not the only one. Many of you who are star seeds and light workers have been doing this and are still doing it. This is called grid work. Now, this is not necessarily a picture of someone doing grid work. In fact, it's not. But I'm going to explain this. I put this here for the picture. Over this area, I did some grid work. And basically what grid work is, I'm not going to go too deep into it on this call because we want to have the time to connect with the dolphins and do the energy work. But look, an area of Atlantis or Bimini, the Bahamas, or the Bermuda Triangle, however you identify this. There are areas on the planet that are particular, we'll call them hot spots, for energetic vortexes. And I could do a whole 2 hours just on this topic alone, but these hot spots, energetic vortexes around the planet, there are particular types of light workers and star seeds that do what's called grid work. They go to the grids of the earth, the grid lines, where these energetic vortexes are. And they're not all vortexes. Some of them are just particular grid lines or ley lines. They're called ley lines. Within the energetic circumference of the earth. You could call it the circumference, but they're within the earth. And these lines, or grid lines, or ley lines, or vortexes, if there is a vortex there, are hot spots where energy is quite intense. And in some cases, the energy is intense. We could use the word negative, as in a drain, an exhaustion point, or we could use the word positive in that they're bringing in, it's a good point for energy to come into the earth to amplify and elevate the frequency of the earth. So these vortex centers around the earth are key spots where grid workers, particular light workers and starseeds, were assigned to do work in those energy centers. And this goes back to exactly what the dolphins are doing too, only they're doing it in a different way. So when a light worker or a starseed goes to those areas, wherever they might be, right, there's hot spots all over the area, all over the planet. Obviously, you guys are probably pretty familiar in the United States. We've got Mount Shasta, obviously, everywhere. There's any kind of Stonehenge is another one. Anywhere where there's any kind of volcano is usually got one. Any kind of pyramid, you can be sure there's one there. Anywhere there's major religious or, for example, religious uprising, there's usually one there. because it's a hot spot. So grid workers will go there and do certain kinds of blessings and healings to either open up the grids, the grid lines, to let more energy, amplified, intense energy, high vibrational energy to come through, or else they'll clear the resonance of the old trauma. Depending on what their role is, depending on where the area is. Most times we use crystals to do this because crystals have a huge amount of consciousness, and that's part of what the role is of crystals. And so when I was doing grid work there, I was doing it mostly on my own, but this year I want to do it with more people who want to participate. And I was working with the crystals and dropping them in certain areas and doing certain kinds of meditations and healings with them. And it really is amazing how this serves humanity. And again, I don't have a whole lot of time to go into it here because of how much we want to cover. But hopefully this gives you kind of an understanding. Some of you already know all about this, and others it's kind of new information. All right, so obviously there's lots of snorkeling, incredible, beautiful snorkeling. We did see a shark there. We actually saw a really big shark. I'll tell you about that in a little bit. But this is literally, you can see the most incredible fish there. This picture isn't from my particular journey, but I really liked it because of the conch shells. There are conch shells everywhere. I mean, you just walk on the beach, you can't even believe these conch shells. They're everywhere. So, and you can see them from the surface. When you're on the surface, you could be looking down, 100 feet of water and see them. This image is also not from my particular journey. Most of these are, but this one's not. But I do intend to ask. Hopefully we can do this next year as well. So I just wanted to let you know because that possibility does exist for us to do that. That's Joala there on the left. I just thought that was such a fun picture just to help you get a sense because everybody just has such a good time. This is our group. That's me on the right. We had so much fun. I mean, just so many great people. Friends for life kind of thing, really. I just wanted to show you some of the social time, too. And there's lots of videos we have of us dancing on the boat, the catamaran. This is a whole crew picture here. You can see us all. It was so much fun. Just such a great group of people. And people from everywhere, all over the planet. I mean, there were people from Germany, people from Australia, obviously from the United States. All right, so before we go into the healing, let me just let you know, this year's retreat that I'm hosting again is this Sunday. Sorry, not this Sunday. Sunday, October 30th to Saturday, November 5th. There's a link here. You can also go to my website at lorispagna.com. We'll give you the link that you can actually click on at the end. But if you go to my website at lorispagna.com, under the Events tab, you'll see the Dolphin Journey link. But I want to give you just an idea about the general agenda. And hopefully you can see this. So on Sunday, the 30th of October, we meet in Fort Lauderdale. And that's where the journey officially begins. At about 5:30 in the evening, we meet in a beautiful hotel, Baha Mar Hotel in Fort Lauderdale. We meet in the lobby, and then we basically go out to dinner for that evening. Now, that particular evening, the dinner is not included. But really, for the most part, this is an all-inclusive. I'll tell you what is included and what's not as we get into it. And I know Nala will clarify this if I make a mistake. But Monday, we go out for dinner, we get acquainted. That's in Fort Lauderdale. And usually we do like a little go around and introduce ourselves, and we go over the agenda, and it's just a fun night. And, you can have drinks, and we pick a nice restaurant. It was really yummy. And we have a tour, someone from Wild Quest meets us that night too and goes out to dinner with us. Then on Monday, November 1st, we wake up super early. We meet in the hotel lobby, and then we get shuttled over to the airport. And there are really nice, clean, private vans. When I say private, they're just for us, for Wild Quest, and they shuttle us to this private airport. I think it's a private airport, but anyway, we were the only ones there. It was so easy. They basically weighed our stuff to make sure we weren't, overweight, and you have plenty. You have plenty of suitcase allotment, and they load up the planes, and we were in I think it was three separate planes, and it took us about 25 minutes. You saw the pictures before. We land in Bimini, and then we head over to the Wild Quest retreat. I think we were there by 11 a.m. approximately. That's why I said general agenda. If I'm off by half an hour, you guys, you can work with me here. And then by 12 noon, we were in the meditation room upstairs, and we were having a really fun get to know each other and get acquainted. And then after that, we went down to lunch. And then after that, we had an afternoon catamaran ride. So we went out the first day. And it's really interesting because the first day, really for us, the Dolphins were literally asking, like I was connecting with the Dolphins and tuning into them, and they were literally saying, we want your group to be united. We want you to be united and be ready for us and for what we're going to receive, so that you are all ready to be really vulnerable in a good way, not vulnerable in a fearful way, but you're so bonded, you feel so safe, you feel so relaxed, you feel trusting that you can receive the magnificent gifts that we have for you. That was what they said for us on the first day. And when I say they said this, that was what I received as a translator. Okay, so then Tuesday to Friday, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, if you want to wake up early, you can do yoga in the meditation room. Breakfast was at 8 a.m. From 9 a.m. to about 11:30, 11 o'clock, there was total free time. So you could visit the town, you could go for a shop, you could cross the street and go onto the beach on the other side. You don't even cross the street. It's like it is a street, but it's really like a pathway, goes straight to the beach. It's so incredible. There's also lots of time for, bike riding or any kind of meditating or just playtime, writing, journaling. If you want to do any kind of private session, as I said, all of the Wild Quest team offer different kinds of private session time if you want some one-on-one time, like massages or healings or readings. I also offered by donation special sessions as well. It wasn't my usual rate, in fact, because I'm not officially working. But some people did want some private time with me, so I did some by donation sessions. And you have that 2 hours. And people went into town. There's museums. We talked about that earlier. Then at 11:30, we'd all meet and we'd get on the catamaran and we'd depart for a full day with the Dolphins. And we swam every day with the Dolphins. So each one of these days, we were in the water. We were interacting with them. We were getting information from the Wild Quest team. We were doing, the meditating, the praying on the boat. You don't have to participate in anything. There's there's nothing that's mandatory. It's all entirely up to you how much you want to interact and how much you would rather just have peaceful, quiet time. Some people wanted to just stay inside. There's sort of an indoor area on the catamaran where you can be out of the sun if you want. And there's a kind of like a back area there that's covered where we had our lunch and we would do our chatting when we were moving. And then there's that front area of the catamaran where some people would just lay out and relax, sun, whatever you want. I did a lot of little mini readings for people on the boat too. Like the whole time I was doing people's numbers. I was doing little mini readings here and there because I just love to do that. And as long as someone was open to it and wanted to receive it and was, gratefully receiving it, not, if they said no or they weren't open to it, then you don't have to have that. But that was what was going on all day. Then about 5:30, we returned to the Wild Quest Retreat Center, and there's some more downtime for relaxing, showering, unwinding, journaling, picture taking, whatever you want. And then at 7 o'clock, we'd eat inside at the dinner at Wild Quest. And now you'll see there's a little star there because on the Wednesday night, we did go into town for dinner, and we did dancing. It was really fun. We went to a really nice restaurant, and just so much fun socializing, and it was just like a night on the town. I went on a 2-seater bike with Chris and her husband, 2 of the participants. They were on a 2-seater, and I was on the 1-seater. They were on a 2-seater, and we rode into town for that Wednesday night. So you can ride a bike, or you can take you can walk, or you can take a little, like a little putt-putt taxi. Anyway, and then afterwards, every night except for Wednesday, we had extracurricular activities, which I'll explain that a little better. And then at 11 o'clock, we'd be getting ready for sleeping. But the stargazing, phenomenal. Phenomenal stargazing. I saw more shooting stars there in any one night than I've seen, I think, my whole life. And then Saturday is the final day. So we eat breakfast, we have some goodbye time, and then we depart. And we're back into Fort Lauderdale really by noon pretty much on Saturday. And there's shuttles there to take us to, a final hotel or the final airport if you're flying to another destination. Same thing. It's like private, when I say private, it was just for us. They took us to where we needed to go. All right, so here's the extracurricular activities I was speaking about. Every night at 8 p.m., I would host something in the evening in the meditation room. And this is included, right? The yoga is in the morning. That is for anyone who wants to do yoga in the morning. But we did in the evening, each night we did a meditation, we did group energy healing. One night I did ascension updates. A lot of the stuff we talked about is happening right now on planet Earth. Literally, I'm not exaggerating. There were predictions in that room with the group of things that are happening right now. We can do a manifestation and healing circle. I love manifestation circles. You guys know about that. I love energy healing. One night I did give an intro to animal communication and telepathy training. It's not a full training. A full training would take 3 days and many, many weeks of training. But you will learn the basics of animal communication and telepathy without question. And everyone can practice animal communication and telepathy, and we can practice it with the dolphins, both remotely and in the water. When you're swimming with them, you probably won't do it as much, but even if you're on the water, on the boat, you can practice it. And we didn't do a fire ceremony last time, mostly because we were just so busy and doing so much, but it's definitely something Almas and I talked about. We want to do it if the group wants it and if the weather permits. So that is definitely an option. And the reason I just say this is it's really based on the group collective. What does the group want to do? What is everybody? It's very informal, and yet there's something to do every night. It's not just swimming with the dolphins, although that, of course, that's the highlight. It's not just fun and excitement. It's not just being on a catamaran. It's not just making friends. Of course, it's all those things. And we have these activities in the evening it's incredible energy healing. And people definitely had some very profound healing. We did a lot of self-love activations, and you guys know I love that stuff. So we go based on guidance and what the group wants and what Divine Source guides us to do, and also what the dolphins share. Okay, so let me just go over what's included. All meals, all drinks, except Sunday night and Wednesday night are included. And everything's made by the people, prepared at Wild Quest. All the dolphin swims and all the snorkeling activities are included, on the catamaran. The snorkeling gear is a little extra charge. I think it's $20. The yoga in the mornings is included. Bikes and kayaking is included. And the extracurricular activities that I mentioned earlier, that's all included. And then all the casual mini readings that I did on the boat, I'm the kind of person who will just go as long as I can, as long as I'm feeling good and you're feeling good. You get lots of guidance and support. I think I did every single person's numbers, and I'm pretty sure with the exception of one or two people, I gave coaching and guidance to every person there for a little bit of time on the boat, as it was asked for. Okay, so what's not included? Airfare to and from Fort Lauderdale. The airfare to Bimini, which is $395 round trip. Nala takes care of that. We'll talk with Nala in a few minutes. The Wednesday night dinner, as I mentioned, and the Sunday night dinner and drinks on the Wednesday night. And then any extra one-on-one private time that you do with anyone. Then the Wild Quest team, there's an additional charge for that. And if you do something with me on one-on-one, there is a donation involved with that. The snorkel equipment I mentioned, and then those, any extra gifts or photos or souvenirs, of course. Okay, so what's the energy exchange for this? Last year, the retreat sold out by the was almost sold out by the beginning of July. It was completely sold out, and we actually had a waiting list by the end of July. So the fair energy exchange for this retreat is $18.95, all inclusive except for the things I mentioned. However, if you register before July 4th, so it says July 1st on my website, but I have it on high. I know that Nala and Amlas will waive it until July 4th. You can save $100 off the $18.95. So all you need to do is put down 25% deposit to hold your space. The balance is due 65 days prior to the departure date. And the full fare, in that case, if you get your deposit in by July 4th, is only $17.95, all inclusive, less the airfare and the few things I mentioned, okay? That's incredible. Now, if you're going to join us, you need to use my name as the coupon code to get that $100 off. You just say, put my name in, Lori Spagna. Or if you call the Wild Quest office, which I'll explain this a little better in a moment, you can just tell them that you're with me. Now, there's even better than this, though. If you decide you want to register by July 1st, that's this July 1st, that's like tomorrow. If you're ready, by tomorrow, you'll get these extra bonus gifts. So these are 3 incredible healing classes. I did it, well, not all healing, one's a class. This first one is a global energy healing and blessing for the Earth's waters and marine animals. It is an incredible energy healing call, and there's thousands of dollars of activation prizes on there. Like not prizes, downloads. You'll be referred to a website where you'll be able to download activations that you don't even have to do anything. They just take care of you. It's explained on there. And then the second one is you'll get the intro class to learn animal communication and telepathy. And you'll get the healing meditation for the waters. You'll get the What the Dolphins and Whales Know. The Dolphins and Whales Know. This is a 60-minute class that I taught. It goes into way more detail about the dolphins and the whales, a lot of which we'll go into during the retreat. These 3 items are valued at an additional $150. You get them free when you register before July 1st. Okay. I want to pause here for just a minute. This is the link. Again, it's at lorispagna.com. Under the Events tab on the website, you look for Dolphin Retreat in Bimini. That's where you'll register. I want to pause. I want to just say hi to Nala right before we go to the meditation and healing energy. Because I would love for you to talk with someone. Nala is just the key person who helps. She just sets everything up. And let me see if I can find her on, oh my goodness. Oh, here she is. Is that her? No. There she is. It would be so nice for you to hear from Nala. She's such an amazing person. Oh, Nala, I think you dropped off there. I just went to go see if I could open your line. And you could just hear from her. I think she just dropped off. I don't know how that happened. Okay. Maybe she calls back. Because I just went to unmute her line, and it looks like somehow she might have dropped off. All right. Well, hopefully she's calling back. So, bummer. Let's see if she comes back on. All right. Well, while we're waiting for her, let me just say, I just think this, for me personally, was a lifelong dream to be able to swim with the dolphins. In fact, I must have said it for years. I want to swim with dolphins in their natural habitat. I want to swim with dolphins in their natural habitat. It was a lifelong dream of mine. And when I finally decided I was just going to go ahead and do it, and I was going to invite people to come and join me who also love animals, who also are interested in spiritual, metaphysical aspects of living and connecting with unseen realms, and who wanted to do energy healing and service to humanity and things like grid work and things like doing healing not just out of just selfishness, and which is nothing wrong. It's nothing, no judgment on saying, I want to receive energy healing from the dolphins, or I want to receive energy healing. I'm grateful for every person who does that, because every time we receive energy healing, we are elevating the vibration and the frequency of Earth. Our body becomes a vehicle, a vessel of higher frequency energy that assists all of humanity. However, there's a whole other breed of humans, and I know I'm one of them, and I think you are too. And this breed of humans is the breed of humans that's coming through the earth that's saying, we want to heal and help and support all of our brothers, all of our sisters, all of the waters, all of the plants, all of the minerals, and all of the animals. We want to work with our animal companions. We want to work with the other animals on this planet, because we know that there's a way to make this world a better place. And we know that by connecting with these other species that have higher intelligence than us, yes, they do, they are using more of their brain capacity than we are, then we can actually form a new kind of partnership, a new kind of alliance that's in service to all of humanity. And this is what I want for this journey. I would like to have people come and join who not only want to have fun and play and get to know these incredible beings in a whole new way, but who also really, really want to make a difference for this world, and who can say, I am working with the non-physical world to make change for the better for all of humanity. Because there's no greater badge of, yes, it is a little bit of an ego kick, but it's even more than that. It is just the greatest gift you give to yourself and to your world when you start working with energy and consciousness to improve the well-being for all on planet Earth. And every human, every single human makes a difference just by showing up, just by putting your intention out there. It just really, it's not true that there's nothing we can do. It's not true that we're stuck with so-called terrorists or dark forces or global agendas to control, dominate, and manipulate. It's not true that the world is getting worse. It's not true that things are getting worse. It's only true that we are tapping into a power to change our world and to transform our experiences that we barely even recognize yet. And these dolphins are definitely teaching us. And they are definitely so welcoming to us. All right, so this is why I'm inviting you today, and we're going to experience their energy, in just another couple of minutes. We'll go into this healing. I do want to come back and see if I can find Nala back on, if she got back on. I don't see. Let me see if this is her. Is this you, Nala?
You hear me now?
Yeah. Is that you?
Hey, sorry, my phone battery died on my work phone.
Oh, that's all right. How are you?
Great.
You're great? Can you speak up? Oh, there you go. You there?
I'm going to take it off speakerphone, so maybe it's a little easier to hear me now.
Yeah, now we can really hear you. I just wanted to introduce you to people because you've been with Wild Quest for how long now?
I first came to Wild Quest in the year 2000, which seemed like an auspicious time, and I feel very privileged to be able to support you all to this day, and I'm just so excited sitting here in my seat. I'm squirming with dolphin energy, thinking of you guys coming to meet the dolphins with Lori.
Oh, my gosh. Nala, tell us a little bit about your experience, because I just think that you are first of all, Nala is such a joy and a pleasure to work with. She's just so helpful in orchestrating and organizing everything and registering people and answering questions and helping us. But you also are a participant. You actually do the dolphin journeys, and you're there, and you've experienced it. And is there anything you might want to share with anybody, or just anything that comes to mind that you might want to tell people about?
Well, I certainly resonated with a lot of what you shared already, Lori, about the powerful energetics of the area around Atlantis, and I've always felt a part of myself very much at home with the dolphins and at the Bimini Road and in the waters around Bimini. So I think there's something really beautiful that happens when we come together and we put our intentions and our light and our energy, with the energies of the dolphins, and whether that's on a sort of bigger level or on a personal level or both, I think a lot of really powerful healing and transformation can happen. And so my hope is to make some of the travel logistics easy, because, those are sort of the details of the day-to-day world, but sort of to help those happen so that you can go and really, with Lori, experience the magic that's waiting for you and that you're already creating. And so I've certainly had my own experiences with being in that water, being with the dolphins, and I feel like the dolphins really make an effort to connect with everyone that comes. And so however I can support you to do that, I just think it's a real gift, and I wish everyone could experience it.
Yeah. Thanks, Nala. I mean,
Sure.
I can't say enough about it because, first of all, I just think the Wild Quest team is so fabulous, loving, kind, helpful, and supportive, and really well organized, really well buttoned up. I mean, it's amazing how really everything is so fabulously organized. It's so effortless on the part of the participants, as far as I'm concerned. We are so well taken care of by the Wild Quest team, and what's even more than that, this is just the profound inner healing and transformation that each person has, life-changing experiences where every person, as far as I'm concerned on my journey, walked away saying that some part of them was forever transformed, that they had made some deeper connection and inner transformation for themselves. I mean, Nala, you must witness this all the time on practically all the journeys, wouldn't you say? I mean, I don't know. What's your take on that?
Well, I think on one hand, there's something very personal that happens for each of us when we go, whether we even have an idea of what we think might happen or we get totally surprised. So I think something very personal and sort of internal, private happens. But also I feel like whether it's the dolphins or as you're talking about the grid or the light work, there's a common energy pulling us together. Even if we show up as strangers, it feels very quickly to become friends. And so I do think people walk away sort of scratching their heads a lot like, wow, that was so deep and so easy for, a trip where we showed up from all over the world and showed up as strangers. So I'm not sure, what all the forces are, but I am very grateful to be part of it. And so I think it is really beautiful. And if I could, personally, I'd marry a bottlenose, but I haven't worked out my swimsuit yet. So maybe down the road.
Funny. Yeah, maybe when you go back to Sirius or something, you'll marry a dolphin. All right. Well, Nala, thank you so much. I just wanted people to hear your voice and to make a connection with someone from Wild Quest. And I'm so grateful to you, and I look forward to seeing you again really soon.
My pleasure, and I look forward to supporting your group, and just let me know how I can help.
Thanks so much, Nala. Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.